Ohioans are being urged to stay home, right, to stop the spread of coronavirus, but home isn't necessarily safe for everybody. Domestic violence and child abuse victims could now be quarantined with their abuser. News 5's Tanisha Cordell shares a local advocate's plea to help those in need. Tanisha.
Rob, staff at the Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center fear they may soon be overwhelmed. I'm told calls to the center's hotline have gone up 30%, with about 20 calls coming in every day. Their phones already ringing nonstop.
Our advocates and our therapists, our staff are just getting calls all over.
Calls from domestic violence victims in isolation from COVID-19, desperate for help.
It is the proximity of being forced to be home, in the home together where that abuse takes place.
And more calls are expected.
People are really scared right now.
Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center CEO Melissa Graves says violence is escalating inside homes.
So you have additional anxiety, uncertainty. People may be losing jobs or not be able to be working hours. So there's financial stress.
And victims may be isolated from outside resources.
If they're at home with an abuser, they might be monitoring their emails, their cell phone calls, their phone calls, their texts.
But Graves says her team is doing what they can to help, urging victims to reach out in the safest way possible. The center's hotline remains available 24/7. Victims can also reach out online through live web chats. And while the center's shelter is open for intake, despite limited availability, Graves says detailed safety plans are in place to get those in danger to a safe place.
We are open, we're available, we are working, we are there to support people in this situation right now.
As their phones continue to ring, Graves says they need help from the community to save those in need.
If there were people in your life that you were concerned about before, please be thinking about and figuring out ways to support that person.
Now, as a reminder, the courts are open and are able to process protection orders and any other resources for domestic violence victims. Rob, the Department of Children and Family Services continue to investigate and take calls as well.
Tanisha, we've seen news stories and you heard concerns firsthand tonight about Cuyahoga County releasing low-level offenders from the county jail to help with the spread of the virus.
I have Rob, the department or the Domestic Violence and Child Advocacy Center is working with victims who feel like that may put them at risk. They're urging them to call police if they receive any threats or feel like they're in danger in any way, shape, or form. In Cuyahoga County, Tanisha Cordell, News 5.